And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Hockey Night on Broad Flyers pregame show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers head to St. Louis, Missouri to take on the St. Louis Blues as they meet up for the first time this season. A pleasure good evening, everybody. I am James Scorza with you once again, and thanks a lot for joining me this time around as the Flyers looking to try to get back on, or basically are back on track right now after two straight good wins on Wednesday night and again on yesterday. And like we always do, since I wasn't around yesterday, I was pretty busy. So let's recap the previous game that happened up in Nashville, Tennessee on Wednesday night. Sorry about that. On Wednesday night when they took on the Nashville Predators. The first period came and went for the Philadelphia Flyers, but the biggest news of that first period was Nashville try to get on top early, and they will do so on the power play that led to a 4-on-4. And around the 13-minute mark of the first period, Nashville will get the equalizer to get the icebreaker. And it was basically a shot that trickled through Alexei Kolosov as Roman Josi got the goal to get the goal scoring starting, and that made it a 1-0 lead for Nashville. Later on in the first, right before the Flyers had a response, they get some opportunities, and they will get a response, and they will get credit for it as it was Scott Lawton tying the game up later on in the first at 1-1 apiece. After a 1-1 tie, and then Nashville tried to get a goal before the end of the period, and will get credit for it, was Ryan O'Reilly, and Nashville will get a 2-1 lead and will stay there at the end of 20 minutes in the books. Inside the second period, no scoring on this very second stanza here for the Orange and Black, but the big story was a lot of shots on goal for the Orange and when Nashville had some opportunities of shots on goal, and it was basically Alexei Kolosov standing on his head, doing whatever what he can to keep the score knotted up at 2-1 in favor of Nashville. To the third period we go, and the Flyers are going to try to get a response late, and they will do so right before the end of regulation, as with less than 11 seconds to go. And getting credit was Morgan Frost, who had a great game on Monday night against the Vegas Golden Knights. Will get credit for this one, and will tie the game up at 2 apiece after 60 minutes. And now we set the stage for for one thing that's been a reminder for the Flyers all season long. It was overtime indeed yet again, and this night in Smashville right before the night before Thanksgiving, and set the stage into overtime as the Flyers won the draw from the Predators, while defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen will get a pass to Travis Konecny, setting up the captain, Sean Couturier, once again scoring, and this time he will get credit for the goal. Captain Clutch beating UC Soros to win the game for the Flyers in comeback fashion 3-2 on Wednesday night in Nashville, Tennessee. As the Flyers got the all-inclusive 2 points out of it and setting the stage for another game right after the Thanksgiving break, as this is a double shot of the Orange and Black tonight, as the Orange and Black look to try to make it 2 straight. Actually, they won 3 out of 4, but especially a game yesterday, an early game on the Orange and Black Friday game. Like I mentioned, a recap of this Orange and Black Friday game between the Flyers and their Metropolitan Division rivals, the New York Rangers, coming to town. To the first period we go, and the Flyers was the big story coming out in pregame that New York Rangers netminder Igor Shesterkin hasn't had the best of seasons, according to Brian Boucher, who was talking to Ashwin Sullivan during the pregame, and will show early on in the first. Early in the first period, the Flyers will already have 3 shots on goal in the first period, and after a shot was blocked by Tyson Foerster, and skating the puck was Flyers forward Tyson Foerster, sending up Bobby Brink, beating Shesterkin to give the Flyers an early 1-0 lead. Less than a minute later, the Flyers will try to get another response, and they will do so as Travis Konecny getting a goal and that will be his 13th on the season, and that's an all-time high for TK to give the Flyers a 2-0 lead in a blink of an eye. And now will stay that way after 20 minutes in the books, and the Flyers will lead the shooting category with shots on goal in that first period, 15-4 at the end of the first period. To the second we go. After a shot advantage was all Flyers in the first period, later on in the second period, the Orange and Black looked to try to get a response, and then after good opportunities, but Shesterkin was standing tall. But the big story in this second period was New York Rangers getting some shots on goal, and they will find the net and will find a chance that a shot by a wrister by, I believe, was Vinny Trocheck to cut the Flyers' lead to 2-1, and will stay that way throughout the rest of the third period, and also 40 minutes in the books as well as we go into the third period. The big story in that game, all in that third period, was Ivan Fedotov yet again. The goaltending matchup like it was on Wednesday night against the Predators. Alexei Kolosov standing tall. And on this night, on this Orange and Black Friday game, Ivan Fedotov was once again spectacular. And the Flyers will get an empty netter. And it will be Travis Konecny yet again to get his 14th on the season, and will give the Flyers the 2 points and will win the game 3-1 at the end of the third period, and will seal the game 3-1 in South Philadelphia on this very important on this very important stretch that the Flyers have tonight. And setting the stage for tonight for this Flyers game tonight, the Flyers and Rangers. Like I said, the Flyers won last night 3-1 and taking it 3-2 against Nashville on Wednesday night along the way as well. Now let's get to our key matchups of the game. As for the Flyers tonight, the one team that I'm really intrigued about what's been going on lately in St. Louis, if you know what I mean, for this game tonight, it's keeping up with the Jonases, if you know what I'm saying. And anything with that latitude and anything possible with that, because immediately after the Boston Bruins letting go of Jim Montgomery, their head coach, exactly 5 days later, making his presence going back to where he belongs in St. Louis, getting hired by the Blues, and after firing their head coach, relieving their duties after I forget who it was. I think it was I forget what his name was, but Jim Montgomery is the new coach for St. Louis. So it's like basically a new song and dance, a same old song and dance for St. Louis, and also a same old song and dance for Jim Montgomery. But 5 days after him going to this, 5 days after getting fired by the Boston Bruins, kind of shocked me a little bit. But Jim Montgomery going to St. Louis and getting some good observations and good possibilities right there for the team right there. That's going to be a big story that's going to be going into this game tonight, because the Blues are looking to try to get back to their when it was like former Flyer Craig Berube got them there back in 2019 when they captured their first Stanley Cup. So I expect more of the same tonight as the Blues, like I said, coming in tonight and going, and just when a new coach comes in, it's kind of like a new lease on life, if you know what I mean. Just try to do whatever you can to get the possibilities of trying to get some wins for your coach here, and trying to do whatever you can to do whatever to make sure it's possible. And I hope for sure tonight this will be a get-right game for it's been a get-right game for the Flyers the last couple games. But sometimes, like, the Blues have to come back down to reality. Not saying that if it's tonight, though. I mean, if the Blues are a better team, the Blues are a better team. But like I said, somehow in some way, they have to keep up with the Jonases sometimes. And more importantly, like that, Jim Montgomery being the head coach for the St. Louis Blues is going to be a big factor in this game tonight as we get closer and closer to puck drop. So who's trending up and who's trending down on this very important night? Well, there's not a lot to be trending down for the Flyers. Obviously, I've been talking about that for the last couple games here since I did these pre-games. But who's trending up? It's a real good possibility of somebody looking very, very well in that captaincy in Sean Couturier. Also, Travis Konecny also looking like he's going to have another stellar all-star performance. Once again, I really believe he's going to be an all-star when it's all said and done before they get ready for the second half of the season. And the goaltending has been fantastic for the Flyers as well. Like I mentioned, Ivan Fedotov doing an excellent job on Friday night. Like I mentioned yesterday, did a stellar job, so I bet it'll be Alexei Kolosov back in goal tonight for the Flyers as they take on St. Louis tonight. But the goaltender matchup has been a big key for the Flyers ever since Sam Ersson went down. Still day-to-day with the lower body injury, but it's good to know Ivan Fedotov and Alexei Kolosov have looked very well in those games, as the Flyers tonight looking to try to make it 4 out of 5 tonight against teams that are probably better than 500. And like, you want to get some good wins tonight. I think tonight will be a big stretch, just because they will be off. They'll be off until Thursday night when they take on the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. But that will be one thing that will be trending up and trending down tonight. But let's get into the big story and who's going to be in this game tonight and who's not going to be playing in this game tonight. It's our injuries and scratches. And like always, I guess this is kind of like the same old song and dance here for the Flyers. Goaltender Sam Ersson out again tonight with a lower body injury. Jamie Drysdale, upper body, like we always mention. Scratches are the same as it was the last previous games with Nick Delorier, Yegor Zamola, and Eric Johnson, who are not playing in this game tonight. So all three of them are scratches. And I expect to see Sam Ersson being back in goal as soon as maybe next week. As we get closer and closer to puck drop, we'll check out our starting goaltender matchup for the Orange and Black tonight. Like I mentioned, in goal tonight, is basically it's a back-to-back for the Flyers after a stellar performance by Ivan Fedotov yesterday. It will be Alexei Kolosov back in goal tonight for the Flyers tonight, who is now 2-4-0 this year at a goals against average of 3.10. And we'll probably get another win tonight to make it 3-4-0, or maybe if you get an overtime point out of it, that'd be great too. For the St. Louis Blues, it will be, man, I can tell you right now, every time they talk about Jordan Binnington, they always talk about the last time the Flyers and the St. Louis Blues played against each other, and I guess they had that glorious song as their go-to song, kind of like we had back when our Super Bowl year. If you get what I'm saying, it's kind of like it. Like they only played that song like at a local bar. Actually, it's not far away from South Philly here. I think that was probably every time when I think of Jordan Binnington, I always think about that time when they played Gloria, and then we were all closet Blues fans not because of Craig Berube. I don't know what the whole circumstance what that is, but anyways, aside from that, Jordan Binnington is 7-9-1 this season and has a goals against average of 2.86. As he'll get the nod tonight for the St. Louis Blues. And like I said, this will be a good game for the Flyers. So for me, my predictions tonight for the Orange and Black, it's basically plain and simple. The Flyers have been playing very great hockey lately. I mean, if nobody's been watching this team, like, you're missing out on a great team. I mean, I'm not saying this team is a Stanley Cup contender. Let's not get crazy here. But like, I've enjoyed every single minute of this Flyers game. And I've got to say right now, the one thing I really am impressed about what the Flyers have done is that they have looked so like lethal. They look methodical. They look so like organized. Like when we ever say the Flyers are organized with a team, I think the last time we said that about a team that the Flyers team was disorganized when it was Peter Laviolette taking them to the Stanley Cup Finals and getting some playoff experiences then and there, and like the list goes on and on with that as well. But so I gotta say tonight the Flyers will win again tonight. I feel good about the Flyers winning tonight. I feel like this will be the game. This will be a let-up game for the St. Louis Blues, and that's probably where we're going to leave it. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. Before we go, we are on Facebook. We are on Twitch. We are on the Hardcore Sports Network and also Stream Punk Entertainment. If you are trying to chime into the show, but before we go, like we always do, like we want to say who's coming up after the game. So that will wrap up the Hockey Night on Broad Flyers pregame show. So remember, after the game, stay tuned for the Third Line John Flyers post-game show on Stream Punk Entertainment Network with the Gobbler, Pat Bernard, and the Hammer, Joe Marks, as they will get you ready for the next game and also around the National Hockey League and more precisely like that. But the Flyers, like I said, the last game before for a couple games, the next time that we playing again, it will be on Thursday when they take on the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, and they got a back-to-back with the Boston Bruins. And the team that don't have a name, but it's called the Utah Hockey Club, a.k.a. I like to call them the Arizona Phoenix Coyotes, or probably maybe I'll get used to saying that as well. But until then, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. I am James Scorza here saying so long from here, and until then, we will see you next time.